you must not have been following the case that well. Because,
no, I am.
First of all, okay, listen to me closely now. First of all, you never mentioned he was on drugs, actively on drugs.
Doesn't matter.
Drugs at the time.
Doesn't matter.
Okay,
irrelevant. Hold on, one at a time.
Is,
Hold on, one at a time. I'll let you bring up something else. I'll be happy to, Herb, but let's do one at a time. Can you explain to me, if he was on drugs, which you claim he was, which I did hear he was on drugs, how that would defend Daniel Perry's actions? I heard the same thing about George Floyd. Oh, well, he was on drugs. Doesn't defend Derek Chauvin putting his knee on his neck for 8 minutes, and it certainly doesn't defend Daniel Perry putting his arm over his throat for that period of time, even after he was unconscious. So could you please explain to me the fact that this guy was on drugs, how that can work as a defense in a courtroom? Please explain that to me.
Because of his behavior, Brian. His behavior, he was threatening to kill people, and he also said he didn't care if he died.
Okay, so let me ask you. Okay, so that doesn't have anything. Okay, let's respond to that. No, we're going to go one at a time. We're going to go one at a time, and then I'll let you finish. You said his behavior, which, by the way, has nothing. It doesn't matter whether he was on drugs or not. His behavior. So let me ask you a question. Let's talk about his behavior for a moment. So if you're screaming and yelling, and let's just say you say, I'm going to kill somebody. Does that give somebody the right, a Samaritan, a citizen, to chokehold somebody and kill somebody? If you say, I'm going to kill somebody and I don't care if I die, does that justify anybody putting somebody in a chokehold and killing them? But does the law say if I threaten somebody and yell at somebody that you can kill me? Please answer that question for me, Herb.
Brian.
Don't Brian me. Answer.
At a lady with a
he
child.
Never physically touched. Okay, so let me ask you another question.
Listen, Brian.
You won't answer
my question. Why don't you answer my question?
You're not answering mine. You're not answering mine.
Brian, I just answered your question.
Okay, no, you answered it by saying. You answered it by saying. You answered it. Herb, hang on. Let's be patient here, okay, Herb? You said he lunged at somebody. He never made physical contact with anybody. So I'm asking you the same question, and I'm going to even rephrase it, and hopefully you'll answer it, and then I'll answer your question, and you could ask me anything you want, okay, Herb? If you're screaming and yelling, and let's just say you threaten somebody's life, and you claim that he lunged at somebody, even though I didn't see that on tape, but you don't make physical contact with anybody, you don't have any weapons on you, does that mean that a regular, everyday citizen will have the right to kill somebody? Why won't you answer my question? Answer the question.
Okay, I'll answer your question, Brian. His intentions weren't to kill him.
Doesn't matter. He did kill him. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. He did kill him.
Point being, that wasn't his intention.
That's why he's charged with That's why he's charged with second-degree manslaughter, not first-degree.
Brian, can we have a conversation?
Yes. Answer my question.
Okay.
Is that allowed?
Brian,
you haven't answered my question. Answer my question. I'm going to ask it again.
Brian.
No, you didn't. So you think it's justified in society if somebody is screaming and yelling and even threatens to kill somebody without making any physical contact with anybody, we as Americans are justified to kill that person. Whether it's our intent to kill them or not, it's justified to kill that person. Is that your take?
No, you're saying justified to kill the person. I'm not saying to kill him.
Okay, but he killed him. He killed him. He killed him.
Okay, but yes, he did kill him.
Yes, he did.
What I'm saying. Okay, Brian, you gonna let me talk?
Okay, so you're not answering my question. Go ahead.
I did answer your question, Brian.
So it's not justified.
All I said was I'm not saying that he didn't want to kill him. He wanted to control him.
I didn't ask you the intention. That wasn't my question, was his intention. I agree with you that his intention probably wasn't to kill that individual. But make no mistake about it, it doesn't change the facts he's dead. So I'm going to try to ask you again. It's yes or no. You haven't given me a yes or no answer.
You're going in circles, man.
No, I'm not. I'm asking you the same question over and over again, and you won't give me a yes or no answer. So I'm going to ask it one more time. And then if you answer yes or no, I will give you the opportunity to ask me anything you like, and I will give you the floor.
Okay, go ahead. Answer the question.
Thank you.
Again.
I'm going to ask. This is the
fourth.
Okay. I'm a child because you won't answer a direct question. Okay, that's
you are a
very
child.
fair. I'm a child. Okay, fine, Herb. So the child is going to ask you a question, and we'll see if the adult can answer a question that the child is going to ask you. Okay, Herb. Okay. Right. So here's the question again, and I'm going to ask it for the fourth time because the child would like an answer. Okay, the adult refuses to answer. If in fact somebody is screaming and yelling and acting irrationally and even threatens to kill somebody with no weapon shown and even might have lunged at somebody without making one physical contact with anybody on that train, does it give the right for a citizen to put somebody in a chokehold, whether their intention is to kill them or not, and kill them? Is that legal? Yes or no? Answer the question.
Well, it's not a matter of it's legal. It's not right.
I didn't ask you. Pot him down. This is like 5 times I asked this guy a question and he won't answer. I didn't ask you. The question wasn't, Herb, is it right? That wasn't the question. I'm now going to ask it for a 6th time. And he calls me the child and the guy can't answer a direct question. Herb, is it legal? Should it be legal for somebody to put somebody in a chokehold and kill them, whether that was their intention or not, if somebody doesn't make physical contact with anybody, is not brandishing a weapon, but acts irrationally, screaming and yelling, and threatens verbally to hurt or kill somebody? Is it legal to put them in a chokehold and, in this instance, kill them? I didn't ask you if it was right. This is now the 6th time. It's a yes or no answer. Is it legal? Do you think it's legal to do that? Yes or no? Thank you.
No,
why,
Brian? Nobody does.
Okay, so why couldn't you just say that?
Legal.
Okay,
but because nobody thinks it's legal. It's not a matter of it being legal.
No, there are people that do. The last guy who called in thinks it's legal.
Brian, it's intent. But let me talk now. Now that you talk, let me ask you some questions. So he lunges somebody. So you're on a subway, and you're on with a bunch of people, and you got some guy who you don't know. And he's threatening people to kill people on the subway, and he doesn't give a damn about what happens to him. And he lunges at a woman with a child, and you're going to tell me you don't want somebody, if not yourself, to get up and try to control this dude?
So here's what I would want. I will now answer your question. The first thing I would want people to do is call law enforcement. Now, if somebody, let me answer, Herb. I'm not finished. I'm not finished answering your question. So if you allow me to finish answering your question, I can tell you what somebody in law enforcement would do in that situation if they're on that subway. And I'll tell you what they wouldn't do. And I need you to listen very carefully. Okay, child? I need you to listen very carefully. By the way, a child, you ask a child a question, they'll answer it, and they won't have to, an adult won't have to ask them 6 times. So if anybody's the child, it's you. But I'm going to answer your question in the best way possible. Let's just say, hypothetically speaking, there's someone in law enforcement. Of course he hung up the phone because he's a coward, and he doesn't want to listen to an actual answer because he's not capable of answering questions himself. If somebody in law enforcement was on that train, here's what they would do. They would try to subdue that individual in law enforcement. They would try to put that individual in handcuffs. What they wouldn't do was put him in a chokehold for 8 minutes while they're unconscious, continue to put them in a chokehold. You know why they wouldn't do that? Because that would harm them physically and they could die. So what is somebody supposed to do? If you're a vigilante, if somebody makes physical contact with somebody, then you have the right to physically get involved. But just because somebody lunges at somebody, by the way, the lunge did not continue. He lunged, but he didn't make physical contact with anybody. That doesn't give you the right to kill somebody, Herb. A law enforcement and a professional individual on that train would not have done what Daniel Penny did. So you can call me a child, and you could call me stupid ass. I think we know who the stupid ass is in this conversation, the person who I had to ask the same question 6 times. Now, here's what's crazy about this whole conversation. I finally got Herb to admit that Daniel Penny's actions were not legal. He admitted it. It took him 6 times. I said, is it legal? Yes or no? He said no. And he's so stupid, he doesn't understand. That's my whole point. So since Herb finally admitted his actions were not legal, he said no, which I agree with. That's why Daniel Penny was charged with 2nd-degree manslaughter, not 1st-degree, 2nd-degree manslaughter, because they don't believe that it was his intent to kill, but it was still a death, and that's why criminal negligence, homicide, was also one of the charges. Herb, you answered your own question. It took 6 times to answer it because you're not very intelligent, but it took 6 times. No, what Daniel Penny did was not legal. And you're asking me, well, what would you do, Brian? Yes, I think a good Samaritan, the first thing you do is call police, and if there's somebody on the train that wants to try to subdue somebody, you don't put them in a chokehold until they die, Herb.